A Minion costume for one of my sons. I need to make the other one. The boys are 5 and 8, and they're about 48 inches tall. So what I did is the base is these pop-up hampers. I got it at Target. It was about $10. And the dimensions are 26 by 15. That's the base. And then their head actually comes through the top of the hamper. I'll cut a hole in it. And the top, you can kind of see through the eyes. I just used chicken wire, and I molded it around a large bowl and took it from there. So some of the supplies I got out were a bowl to mold, needed some cardboard. I ended up using, for the eyes, I used just a oatmeal box that I cut into different sizes, and then well, one of them has the top already on. The other I'll cut the cardboard to fit in, and then I just covered them with duct tape, actually. I needed yellow and the blue material. I used 52 inches for each. Didn't need that much for the blue. I did have some left over. I also got 12 inches of black just to work on the smile and the band. And I also needed a little bit of white material. I had a really thick sailcloth, actually, so it's not showing through the teeth. So that's what I used for here, and also Sharpies, because all I did was draw on the buttons and the glue. The other thing I used, my sewing machine choked on me as I was doing this, so I ended up getting Stitch Witchery, which is holding fantastically. So I used Stitch Witchery, so you need an iron. The other thing I needed was batting to cover over the chicken wire here, because otherwise the chicken wire shows through the material. So I covered the chicken wire with batting. And also, something to think about with this hot pink, it actually shows through. So I just followed the stripes with some batting too, just to tone down the hot pink. Not that the boys even care. You'll notice the eyes. I did not put eyeballs on there. They're little kids. They're going out trick-or-treating in the dark, so they need to be able to see. So if I were making this for somebody older, I would have used just some transparency paper and colored an eyeball on it so they could kind of see through it. And the other thing is, the boys did not want hair. Had they wanted hair, I would have cut just a black plastic binder. I would have cut that into some strips and attached it to the top of the head. But they weren't interested, so I'm good. No complaints from me. I needed wire cutters to cut the chicken wire. I also needed some, this is actually floral wire, so that I could attach the eyes. I mean, you can see it. I have silver wire, it just wasn't as pliable. And again, they're 5 and 8. They don't care. They're just excited to be Minions. The other thing I'm thinking about is making sleeves. On there I do have some leftover yellow material because it was too wide. I could make some sleeves, but I don't know if I'm going to get to that because I have 4 days and I still have to make a second one. The first one took me a while because I was making it up as I went along. The second one should be a piece of cake. But anyway, just wanted to let you know how I started. And so the first thing I need to do with this is I need to cut out a hole for his head. And then I'll cut him some armholes. And once he's in there and in the armholes with his head out, then I can do the chicken wire, not with his head in it, obviously. As you can see, I cut his head through, and I just cut slits for the armholes, and it's not a big deal. It rests on his shoulders nicely, and you can actually make a little slit to get the head in a little easier. The one thing to get the chicken wire, which is in a roll, to be all molded like this, I cut 36 inches of chicken wire, and then I was molding it around a bowl, and I cut up on the sides about 6 inches just to give me more ability to bend it up. And once I got it all bent into place, I mean, it hooks onto itself easily. I did trim on the edges to make it more level around, and then you can just hook it around, but because this is going to be worn by, again, a 5 and an 8-year-old, I just whip stitched it to here, and it's really sloppy because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's not quite round. It will eventually, without a problem, be round, as you can see on here. Is I took an oatmeal box, and this is a small oatmeal box, by the way. This is 18.5 ounces, so it's not like a huge Quaker one. It's a small one. And I cut it into, I quartered it actually because I needed 4 eyes because I'm making 2 of these. So there's, the shape of 1 eye. And what I did is I just centered a bean can in there and traced them both. And then I'll cut out, and I'll use this circle here to tape and attach it into here, so that you get the dimension of the eyes like that, so they're wider. Duct tape. Something else I have to mention that I forgot. When you are doing the chicken wire, just stick the head, like put it on the person who's going to be wearing it, and make sure their head's not bonking anything under the chicken wire. My first attempt, I didn't have enough length. 36 inches was good for the boys. But my first attempt was like 30 inches, and it didn't go up high enough, and it made them very uncomfortable. So I made sure this fits over their heads while they're sticking up through the tube, just to keep it from, making them rub against the chicken wire. You can see I left the bottom of the oatmeal box. I just cut out the bean shape from another one. And then there's the cardboard I just cut out. And so I'm just going to cover them in duct tape. And I just attached them with, on the last one I used green floral wire, and then I remembered I had silver craft wire, so I just used that. It's really pliable, but the floral wire is fine too. And then I left the ends here because you are going to need to attach it to the face. Now, what I did with the other one, and I'll do with this one, is I actually cut the chicken wire where I'm going to put the eyes. But I can't do this. You have to make sure you've got it on the person to figure out exactly where the eyes are supposed to be. So I'm not doing anything yet. I just wanted to show you how to do the eyes. And then I'll put them inside of it, and I will figure out where his eyes go, how deep his head, how far down it should go, and I'll take it from there. So once you have the wire on, the chicken wire, then you just cover the thing in batting, and I just pinned it. I wrapped it and pinned it. And the next step is I will cover up the pink stripes, just because it is kind of irritating that they will show through the yellow material. So I will do that next, and then I will figure out my eyes and where to put them on the head. And there it is with that fill on it, just the strips of it. It just covers the pink enough that you can't see it. So on this one, I didn't do the very bottom, but the blue covers it up nicely. But the yellow struggles with it. So, all right, the next challenge is to get the eyes on the front, and what you need to do is cut out that chicken wire. So where the eyes go. So you need to get your kid in there and figure out exactly where your eyes are lining up, and then get them out while you cut the chicken wire, and then attach the eyes and bend the chicken wire away from their faces so it doesn't cut them, and then you're in good shape. So I pulled up the hood that we had made, and I made sure the eyes fit where he needed them to be, and then I put my my wire cutters in through here after first I wired this on with that silver wire I was telling you about, and again, on these guys I use the green wire. It's not that big a deal. But I attached them with the silver wire, and then you can see this one's not cut out yet. This is still the chicken wire here. But this one I was able to hollow out, and then I just bent the chicken wire up so it's not poking their eyes out. So it's pretty cleared out. And I will repeat with this, and then I'll pull the hood back down and actually cut a slit out to access it. And so I will get that back down again and hood it up, and then we'll be ready for the material. Okay, so again, I used the wire cutters to cut out just right behind the eyes. I made sure, I just cut with these. I made sure that I didn't cut where I had attached these silver wires that are holding it so that it's still on nice and tight. Because again, the kids are 5 and 8, so I'm really not trusting them to not slam into each other and do silly minion dances. And then I had cut the slit up so I could pull it up and make sure it fit, and then I just pinned it here. I need to cover that pink a little bit more, pull it down a little more. And it doesn't matter if you fill this in or not. I didn't on the other one, you can't tell. The next step is the cloth. So for the yellow and for the blue, I purchased 52 inches of material, which is a tiny bit too long actually. I wanted to give myself enough overlap, and so that's what I did. I'm just going to put the minion right in the middle and then just wrap it around just to make sure. You always want to double check that you have enough. You're going to leave an overhang here because you don't need to go to the end. That's just fine to not go to the end. And you want to make sure you have enough room at the top so that you can cover the whole head, which this will, obviously. And then I'm just going to mark where I'm going to join the seam together. I'm just going to mark it with, well, since this is yellow, I'm going to mark it with a pencil on the end just so I know where I'm going to attach it for the seam up. I ended up putting the seam on the back just for aesthetics, just to make it look nicer. So you can see the seam here, which I just ended up hand sewing. But, and again, this does overhang. But just to where it's going to meet, where the overhang is, it was a couple inches of extra material. But just so you know, because when you do the blue overalls, because I'm approaching it with the seam in the back, you need to make sure you've got enough inches. So I'll show you. For the blue, you actually only need it to be 24 inches height, so I'm using my handy dandy T-square and just chalking or penciling a line across. Then I'll cut it so it's 24 inches. At that point, you are going to make the bib, the overalls. And you can see they're bib overalls, so they're high in the front and then high also in the back. And with that, wanting that seam in the back, you got to do a little bit of work. The width on the bib part, the high part, is 18 inches wide, and the middle part, the sides are 8 inches across here. And you just need to do it so that they're centered. Okay, I hope you're going to be able to see this. I tried to do it in dark pencil just to make it show up more. Using the T-square, I cut out rectangles. I went in 9 inches to here. This is 12 inches long. 9 inches because it's half of the 18 of the back bib. This is 12 inches. This is 8 inches, 12 inches. So I will cut that out, and then up here, that'll be the lower part of the overalls. This is the 18 inches wide of the front bib of the overalls, 18 inches. This again, 12 by 8. 12 again. And then this side is the 9 inches, and then the few extra inches that I told you I had overlap space for. So this is the back, half the back, cut out, that's the armhole, front, back. That's the side, okay? Okay. So then you end up with this. What I'll do next is I will lay out the yellow with the blue on top, and then you can sew them together or you can stitch butchery them.